I think we can finally have an adult conversation about what patriotism really means, because if you listen to the news or political conversations for the last 10, 15 years, you would assume that the right has a monopoly on patriotism, with America first, Britain first, take back control, Brexit, all that stuff gives the impression that right-wingers are the ones who really care about this country and will put the interests of this country first. With the implication being that lefties, bleeding heart liberals, care more about poor foreigners in other countries, that they're not real patriots. But in the UK, we have seen the right's agenda play out. Like, the main policy of people like Nigel Farage, the Reform Party, the right-wing establishment in the UK, has been Brexit for the last 40 years. That's their biggest policy. And this is what they actually said about it themselves before we'd even left.
When I'm asked about, are we going to be richer or poorer with Brexit? Do you know what my answer is? What price freedom? What price liberty?
Exactly.
What price our identity?
Exactly.
And these are the arguments, actually, that really matter.
So Nigel Farage was on record that his idea of patriotism meant putting his notions of identity about the country ahead of whether or not the British people were actually going to be poorer or richer. He was literally saying there is no price that he wouldn't be willing to make the British people pay for his concepts of national sovereignty. And it wasn't just politicians who pushed this idea, journalists did it too. Take Julia Hartley-brewer, for example.
And if the EU is demanding we give up on those fundamental principles, then I'm afraid a deal will not be done. And if there is a cost to that, then so be it.
And that attitude of we are willing to intentionally harm this country for our idea of national sovereignty fed down into the voters themselves.
As far as I'm concerned, it'd do the country good to go without for a little while. Make them appreciate what they've had.
Does any of this sound patriotic? Being willing to literally starve your own country because of your feelings about where it's going. And now Nigel Farage is on record as saying that Brexit has made our economy worse.
We haven't actually benefited from Brexit economically. Everything from financial services to fisheries is probably more difficult now than it was.
And Reform Party politicians have explicitly said that they would make us poorer via Brexit for the next 2 decades.
Sometimes you have to take you have to swallow your medicine to get better in the future. So this is maybe a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plan.
So when you think about the fact that Brexit was the biggest policy discussion in the UK that any of us have seen for a generation, objectively, Remainers, the people who opposed Brexit, were the real patriots of this story. Because when deciding what is patriotic, the question should always be, are you willing to put the country ahead of your own personal feelings and beliefs? But right-wingers and Brexiteers sacrificed the UK on the altar of the belief that Britain was this uniquely and unfathomably great country.
So we would win the war because we import less. So
bottom
line is,
you are arguing that one country is needed by 27 countries more than 27 countries are needed by one country.
Absolutely right.
That would imply that that one country is inherently better than 27 countries combined.
Bang on! Congratulations, you've hit the nail on the head. We are the 5th largest economy in the world.
And I'm not saying that everybody who votes for those sorts of things intentionally wants to hurt their own country, but we should be aware that a divided country is a weaker country. And if you can see that the way politics is going is basically dividing the entire country against itself, you should be trying your hardest to try and bring people back together. And that doesn't happen by just singing Kumbaya. It happens by making sure that everybody is working from the same set of solid facts. Because if you all know the facts and know which facts are going to actually make things better or worse for the people of your own country, then you can move forward together. So if you can see that the people on the other side of the argument are just as passionate about you, then you should be questioning your own beliefs just as much as you question theirs, because clearly at least one of you is wrong. Because it's the fact that people who are wrong are still passionately defending their positions because they won't question their beliefs that is dividing our countries. So if you actually care about your country, then you should be doing everything in your power to make sure that you are not the problem, that you are not the one arguing from a position of wrongness, dividing everybody up. Because every time I'm able to publicly say I was wrong, it makes me feel better about myself because it makes me know that I am not the problem here. But some of you care more about the idea of being somebody who puts their country first rather than actually prioritizing the needs of your country. That's what patriotism is.